Good morning, PS17 Tigers. Happy Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, May 6th, 2020. If everybody could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. We're standing tall, we're facing our flag, hands are placed over our hearts. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for our school mission statement. We are here to be literate, innovative, and proficient scholars who will participate in rich academic learning in a nurturing environment where we will rise. This will be accomplished by creating collaborative and supportive teaching and learning systems involving the entire PS17 community. Okay, family, we hope you had a terrific Tuesday yesterday. We are reading Mr. Flux. And we got to the part in the book where Martin found a box that belonged to Mr. Flux. And when he tried to return it, Mr. Flux said, "No, why don't you keep it? There might be something interesting inside of it." But all of the townspeople were like, "No, we don't like change. We don't like that around here." So Martin brought the box back. Right, remember? And then it looks like Mr. Flux is frying an egg outside, which is, maybe that's what he thinks another thing of art is. Another piece of art is frying an egg outside. Let's see. So this is how Mr. Flux responds when Martin hands the box back. "I see, but Martin, everything changes. Look around you. A dewdrop, a bubble, a cloud. What stays the same?" "I'm not talking about teensy-weensy changes," said Martin. "Right, well," said Mr. Flux, taking the wooden box from Martin, "can I offer you a jelly donut instead? Or perhaps a ride in my plane? Or shall we spin toy rabbits on my record player?" Those are interesting ideas. By the time Martin returned home, he had tried 6 new things. Oh, he looks happy. Very different from how he looked here. He almost had a scowl on his face, like, "We don't want it." Or maybe he was just upset that he had to return the box. I don't know, what would you infer? Was he upset that he had to return the box, or is he agreeing with the other members of the community? Because here, Martin looks so happy that he's trying new things. Let's see. See what happens. Oh my goodness. The next morning, Martin put on a shirt he had never worn before. At breakfast, he skipped the crazy crackles and ate toast instead. Martin had decided that little changes were okay, but big changes, like riding his new bicycle, not yet. So he's going to stick with the old bicycle because he's saying that's a big change. I can do these little changes like wearing a new shirt and having something different for breakfast, but I'm not ready for those big changes yet. I think he would enjoy the new bike, do you? Over the next 5 days, he visited Mr. Flux often. Sometimes Mr. Flux would talk about his ideas. Change is to keep us on our toes. Change is to make us look more closely. You can make change or it can make you. What doesn't change are the arms you use to hug with. Those stay the same. It's interesting because sometimes I'm scared of change. But remember when we spoke yesterday, we spoke about how change can be a good thing sometimes. Sometimes Martin would try to teach Mr. Flux how to make art the right way. Wait a minute. How do you make art the right way? What is the right way to make art? Oh, wait a minute. I'm connecting to the author's note here. Do you remember when we were reading the author's note? We read that this book is loosely inspired by the founder of the Fluxus movement, George Maximus, who looked at art in new ways and thought about how art can change us and saw unusual things as art. So I'm thinking that as Mr. Flux and Martin build a relationship, that Martin's like, no, 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 no. Let me teach you the right way for art. This is real art. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's see if Martin changes his mind. So sometimes Martin would try to teach Mr. Flux how to make art the right way. Martin showed Mr. Flux that some artists made things that actually looked like something. And Mr. Flux showed Martin that other artists made things people didn't see as art, but that could still make you feel wonderful, like this. Interesting. So it looks like they're trying to teach each other something. Very interesting. They're broadening their minds. And even though Martin was sometimes confused and Mr. Flux was sometimes puzzled, they both liked each other enough to give new things a go. As time passed, the neighbors began to notice Mr. Flux's influence on the street. A few houses magically changed color. One family awoke to find the town mayor eating apples on a ladder in the middle of their lawn. And another discovered the local librarian tossing salad in the waiting pool. Children began to wake up early, hoping to spot something new. The most surprising change, though, was in people's thinking. Then one day, Martin woke up to a big change. Mr. Flux was moving away. Martin had grown used to Mr. Flux. What if he left and nothing ever changed again? The day Mr. Flux was to leave, his van broke down. Martin was secretly happy, but then he saw Mr. Flux's sad face and knew he had places to go. So while Mr. Flux tried to fix his van, Martin snuck off to fetch his beloved old red bicycle. It was a bit small for Mr. Flux, but after a few adjustments, he was on his way. He's giving his red bike to Mr. Flux, his old red bike. I have a prediction. If he's giving his old red bike away, I have a prediction. Let's see. Just before he left, he gave Martin the wooden box. This time, Martin brought it home where he finally opened it. Pesos and yen, francs and liras, there was change from all over the world. Martin read the note taped to the box and smiled. So that's the change, like the money change, like coins. So this is what the note said. Sometimes change is big, and sometimes it's small, and sometimes change is just change. And that's fine too. Thank you for the art lessons. Looks like he's riding his new red bike. So this is the last note from the author. It said Fluxus, the movement of this art didn't take art or life too seriously. It was meant to be fun and simple. Sometimes musicians, for example, played instruments that couldn't be heard, but mostly people believed in friendship and doing beautiful and crazy things that would invite people to look at the world around them in a new way. So family, PS17, how are you going to look at the world in a new way today? How are you going to discover something new and see the beauty in something new today? Family, have an awesome Wednesday. And remember, as always, say it with me, we love you.